Hi guys, this is my Hoya Husky. I actually I nickname her Husky, Variegata or Variegated. So this is what she looks like. And if you haven't seen my unboxing for this particular plant, I actually had like a plant haul of just Hoyas. I will link it down in the description section. Also in my description section will be my social media accounts and including what I do provide for this particular plant, including the substrate or the medium that I use, the pot, and all that good stuff, or when I use the water. I'm also going to try to put the card up above the video. It should be like right here. So if you want to watch that unboxing, it's right there. This is day 2. I just transplanted her in this particular substrate when it arrived yesterday for me. She was doing okay in my Hoya mix. She wasn't thriving. And because she is extremely variegated, the non-variegated version of this is just completely green, totally green. And this is a very thin leaf kind of Hoya. It's definitely not as thin as the Obscura that I do have. That one's definitely the thinnest that I do have right now. I would say the thinnest Hoya that I've ever encountered is the Lacunosa. Next would be the Obscura, and this would be third, I would say. And this is actually harder. It's thin, but it's harder, and I think that's why it's a slightly just thicker versus the Obscura. And I think this is just my personal opinion, and just correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below, because I'm very, very new to Hoyas. I've only been really in the Hoya rabbit hole for about a year. And from what I've noticed, the thinner leaves are actually more frail, more difficult to care for me versus the thicker one. Like a Carnosa, oh my gosh. I have 4 different Carnosas and I love them. They're very easy. They are not in this kind of substrate. They're actually in just potting soil. There is nothing special in the medium that I use. And they're in regular pots. This is in a soft watering pot. And I'm experimenting with her in regards to putting her about, let's see, I would say about almost 4 inches, like maybe about 4 inches away from a west facing window. I've also started to supplement with a LED grow light, I would say about 3 to 4 feet away or above her, and some of the plants that are right there, which are mostly in my small Hoyas. The substrate is homemade pond or homemade gritty mix or homemade gritty soil or homemade stone soil or stone mix. It's called a lot of different things. I got the idea from Lechuza Pond. Lechuza is the brand and they call this Lechuza Pond. I haven't really done a video in regards to this because I just started to use it and I don't really know how great it's going to be and how bad it's going to be. So far, the plants that I have transplanted in this system is doing fine, because if it was bad, they would have a bad reaction, I would say, within a day or 2. And so far, there hasn't been a problem. I like this pot because it does have slits on the top, which it can aerate and add humidity in regards to that. Also, when you do use like a gritty, if you use like a gritty soil mix or just a stone mix for whatever, or like a bark mix or just like cocoa chips and stuff like that, from my personal experience, it does add humidity, especially when you're using like a soft watering pot, because the water is constantly evaporating. So it does add that moisture. And when you have an I'm dyslexic, so bear with me, epiphytic, I think that's how you say it, I'm sorry, type of plant, which is like an orchid or a Hoya. They love moisture. They're very thirsty. It's weird, like I've never grown orchids in a regular pot. I've only really grown them in soft watering pots. That's the only way I can do that. And I'm always asked whenever I have guests over, family members on my Facebook, they're always asking like, how do I get my orchids to bloom so much? Their orchids, they won't get a bloom for like 2 years. And I always tell everybody what I do. It's not a secret, but a lot of times people just kind of don't believe it because it's so easy. So I'm kind of hoping it will happen with this one too. The benefits that I've seen from my orchids, and hopefully it will transcend and actually do with my Hoyas too, is they're constant bloomers. If there is no flower or flowers, it's usually a lot of flowers that are in bloom, they are producing buds. And currently, because my orchids are about 2-3 years old or less, somewhere around that time frame, and I have changed the supplements that I've used, I've noticed that the flowers now will start to bloom and end the bloom in about 5 to 6 months. And this is the 3rd batch from the same stock. I've never had a 3rd batch of buds and blooms. I've only had a 2nd batch of buds and blooms. So changing the supplement, changing the food really did help in my personal opinion. And that's what I'm trying to do with my Hoyas as well. So far, she seems to be doing okay. And she sits currently, like I said, in a west-facing window. Before that, I did put her in an east-facing window. I am thinking of putting her back in the east-facing window because she is variegated and it is a white variegation. Just a tip, when you have variegated leaves, especially when it's white or albo, they are more sensitive to the afternoon sun. I would avoid a south-facing window, even if it's like 5 feet away or how many feet away, because the midday sun will scorch that. Coming in the brighter months, it's just, I just don't want to risk her on that. There is an obstruction, right at the window for her. I have a large Hoya, but I don't want to risk it. And she's been sitting in that window for maybe 1 or 2 days. So I'm kind of scared. I'm just going to put her back in the east-facing window. So in the east-facing window, because it's a morning light, I can put her next to the window and it should be okay. However, I've only had her for a short amount of time, only less than a year. So I don't really know. So if you guys have any tips and tricks, and if you have this particular plant itself, I'm not interested in the regular green one because that would have different care and different needs for that. And just remember that any kind of plant that has a different variegation or versus the non-variegated one, they have very, very different needs. So pay attention to that, especially if you're new to variegated plants. Very, very different. I'm actually very interested in getting this in the regular green leaf, and it comes in pink and yellow flowers, but it's also kind of hard to get, and sometimes something can be hard to get. Maybe it's because it's kind of hard to grow. So I'm keeping my eye on that, but for right now I have stopped acquiring Hoyas because of the fact that I want them to thrive in this situation. From what I've noticed, they are really finicky, and Hoyas can be very, very difficult, and they will just die instantly. So I would be very careful, and I am trying to get all my substrate in order and my pots in order before I'm going to buy more Hoyas, which is what I usually did before. I would always prepare myself in getting enough pots, getting enough soil, getting enough nutrients for my plants before acquiring more plants so that they won't really have issues in regards to that. That's my son making a ton of noise, even though he knows to be quiet because we're doing this. So anyway, I apologize for that if it was a little too loud. So this is what I've been doing, and I hope the next time I update this particular plant, she is still in this pot or in this system and the same substrate. If you guys, again, if you have any tips, information about this particular plant, care, anything at all, let me know down in the comment section below. Before, I was watering her about a week on an east-facing window because I did move her yesterday on a west-facing window, and I'm getting a little scared. She's curling up a little bit. So I'm going to put her back on an east-facing window. She might do better there just because the morning light is definitely less harsh, less intense. The afternoon light, like a west and a south facing window, is definitely more intense and can actually scorch certain leaves. So I don't want her to get she gets boo-boos. I don't want her to get any boo-boos, so I'm going to put her back on an east facing window. Thank you guys so much for love and support. Again, if you want to connect with my other social media accounts, there's down in the description section, including what I am using with this particular plant will all be in there. Anything else, guys, let me know in the comment section below. I love hearing from you guys all the time. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.
Bye.